Hold onto your seats, Bulls fans. In a bombshell exclusive, a Chicago Bulls executive has just revealed the shocking truth behind the trades of DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. You won't believe the real reasons these superstars were shipped out of the Windy City. From secret locker room tensions to surprising salary cap strategies, we're diving deep into the moves that have turned the NBA upside down. If you thought you knew the whole story, think again. This is the inside scoop that's going to change everything you thought you knew about the Bulls' massive shakeup. Don't miss a second of this earth-shattering report. Welcome to Chicago Bulls News, your go-to source for the latest updates on the Windy City's favorite team. We've got you covered with breaking news, trade rumors, and in-depth analysis of everything Bulls. From United Center to the front office, we're bringing you the inside scoop. Hit subscribe and let's talk Bulls basketball. Alright, let's cut right to the chase. In a shocking turn of events, a high-ranking Chicago Bulls executive has just come forward with the real reasons behind the earth-shattering trades of DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. That's right, folks. We're talking about the two faces of the franchise, the dynamic duo that was supposed to lead Chicago back to the promised land. Now, I know what you're thinking. But Hoops Insider, these trades happened out of nowhere. What could possibly justify breaking up one of the most talented backcourts in the league? Well, my friends, that's exactly what we're here to unpack today. Let's start with a quick recap for those who might have been living under a rock. Just days ago, the Bulls front office stunned the basketball world by shipping off both DeRozan and LaVine in separate deals. The move sent shockwaves through the NBA, leaving fans and analysts alike scratching their heads. But now, thanks to an exclusive interview with a Bulls executive who wishes to remain anonymous, we're getting an unprecedented look behind the curtain at the decision-making process that led to this franchise-altering shakeup. Our source, who we'll call Deep Dish to protect their identity, didn't hold back when explaining the rationale behind these blockbuster moves. So, let's break down the key factors that led to the departures of DeRozan and LaVine, starting with the man they call DeMar DeRozan. When the Bulls acquired DeMar DeRozan in a sign and trade deal back in 2021, expectations were sky high. The four-time All-Star brought a wealth of experience, a lethal mid-range game, and veteran leadership to a young Bulls squad. And for a while, it seemed like a match made in heaven. Deep Dish had this to say about DeRozan's impact. DeMar was everything we hoped for and more when we brought him in. His professionalism, work ethic, and clutch performances gave this team an identity it had been lacking for years. According to our source, the decision to move on from DeRozan wasn't made lightly. It came down to a perfect storm of factors, Deep Dish revealed. We had to look at our timeline, our salary cap situation, and most importantly, our long-term goals as an organization. One of the primary concerns was DeRozan's age. At 34 years old, there were questions about how long he could maintain his elite level of play. Deep Dish explained, DeMar's game has aged like fine wine, no doubt about it. But we had to be realistic about our championship window and whether his timeline aligned with our young core. Another major factor in the decision was the looming salary cap situation. With DeRozan eligible for a massive extension and several young players due for new contracts, the Bulls found themselves in a financial bind. We were staring down the barrel of some tough decisions, our source admitted. Keeping DeMar long-term would have severely limited our flexibility to improve other areas of the roster. It was a chess move, thinking several steps ahead. Zach LaVine had been the face of the Bulls franchise since arriving in Chicago as part of the Jimmy Butler trade back in 2017. Over the years, we watched him blossom from a raw athletic talent into a bona fide all-star and one of the league's most electrifying scorers. Deep Dish spoke glowingly of LaVine's development. Zach's growth as a player during his time with us was remarkable. He put in the work and became a player who could drop 40 on any given night. His commitment to improving every facet of his game was admirable. So, with all that said, why would the Bulls part ways with a homegrown star in the prime of his career? One of the most intriguing revelations from our source was the growing concern about LaVine's fit within the team's evolving system. As talented as Zach is, we started to see some diminishing returns in terms of how his individual brilliance translated to team success, Deep Dish explained. The Bulls brass apparently felt that LaVine's ball-dominant style and defensive limitations were becoming hurdles in the team's quest for contention. Our source continued, we needed to build a more balanced attack, one that emphasized ball movement and two-way play. As painful as it was, we had to consider whether Zach was the right centerpiece for that vision. Another factor that played into the decision was LaVine's injury history, particularly his recurring knee issues. While he had shown resilience in bouncing back, the Bulls front office couldn't ignore the potential long-term risks. Zach's health was definitely a consideration, Deep Dish admitted. When you're talking about committing max money to a player, you have to factor in their durability. We had to ask ourselves if we were comfortable with that level of investment given the injury concerns. Now, I know what you're all wondering. How does trading away your two best players make the team better? Well, according to our inside source, it all comes down to a dramatic shift in organizational philosophy. Deep Dish dropped this bombshell. We came to the realization that the DeRozan-LaVine pairing, as talented as it was, had taken us as far as it could. To truly compete for championships, we needed to reconstruct this roster from the ground up. The Bulls brass apparently believes that the assets acquired in these trades, young players, draft picks, and cap flexibility will allow them to build a more sustainable contender for the long haul. It's a calculated risk, our source acknowledged. But we're confident that this new direction will ultimately lead to greater success than if we had stayed the course. Of course, these moves don't exist in a vacuum. The departures of DeRozan and LaVine will have far-reaching implications for the rest of the roster. Players like Nikola Vucevic, Patrick Williams, and Kobe White now find themselves in very different roles. Deep Dish hinted at what's to come. This opens up opportunities for our younger guys to take on larger responsibilities. We're excited to see who steps up and seizes the moment. Now, I know many of you Bulls fans out there are probably feeling a mix of emotions right now. Shock, anger, confusion, trust me, I get it. Losing two beloved stars is never easy. But our source had a message for the fan base. We understand this is a lot to process, and we don't take these decisions lightly. But we ask for patience and trust in the process. We're committed to bringing championship basketball back to Chicago, and sometimes that means making tough choices for the greater good. Before we go, I want to give a massive shout out to our anonymous source, Deep Dish, for providing this incredible insider information. And of course, a huge thank you to all of you for tuning in to this breaking news report. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay up to date with all the latest NBA drama, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Drop your thoughts on these blockbuster trades in the comments below. I want to hear from you.